Ever feel like the day just vanishes, like where to go?
Totally. Happens to all of us.
Well, today, we're going deep on time management, but not the surface stuff.
Right, not just squeezing more in.
Yeah, it's about reclaiming time, like
Yeah.
actual hours back.
Less stress, hitting goals, not feeling constantly behind.
That's the dream.
It's totally possible. Think of it as a mindset shift.
Oh,
When you truly own your time, it's not just checking off lists, it's choosing where your energy flows.
making each minute matter. I like that.
Optimizing your life, basically.
But this whole managing time idea, hasn't it always been around?
Good point. Historically, no, the Industrial Revolution was huge.
Factory schedules.
Exactly. 8-hour workday, that was revolutionary.
Now it's normal, but back then,
People had to figure out how to use those hours well.
productivity boom.
And then came the big thinkers. Peter Drucker, remember him?
Vaguely. Management guru, right?
The OG. He said effectiveness matters as much as efficiency.
Doing the right things, not just doing things right.
Boom! And Stephen Covey, 7 Habits guy.
At books everywhere.
He gave us the Eisenhower Matrix, prioritizing goals.
That's the 4 squares, yeah. Urgent, important, all those combos.
You got it. It forces you to think, what really needs my attention now?
Versus what can wait or be handed off.
Too often we're stuck in urgent but unimportant land.
Busy work central. Ugh, the worst.
Eisenhower helps you see through that. One tip, though.
Yeah.
People mess up importance. Ask yourself, if I ignore this for 6 months,
What's the real damage?
bingo, that clarifies things.
Then there's David Allen, the getting things done guru.
Mr. Clear Your Mind.
His thing is externalizing everything, right?
Yes. Notes, lists, whatever. Your brain's for thinking, not remembering tasks.
Frees up mental RAM.
And less clutter means better focus, more getting done.
So, foundations laid. Let's get tactical. Eisenhower in action. How's that work?
Okay, first up, brutal honesty time. Every task gets 2 questions.
Hit me.
1, how urgent is it? Like, gotta do it now, urgent.
That's 2.
How important does it tie into your big goals, your values?
So, top left box, urgent and important. That's
Do it now, territory.
Yeah.
Top right, important but not urgent.
schedule that in. Got it.
Bottom left, urgent but not important.
Yeah.
Delegate if you can.
And the dreaded bottom right.
Not urgent, not important, often time wasters. Minimize those.
Be ruthless. Okay, that's prioritizing. Now, the Pomodoro Technique, everyone's talking about it.
It's simple, but it works. Work in blocks, 25 minutes usually.
Focus, no distractions.
Then a short break, 5 minutes. Do 4 of those.
A Pomodoro each, right?
Exactly. Then a longer break, 15, 20 minutes.
Prevents burnout.
Your brain gets these mini recharges, concentration stays sharp.
I've tried it. It's amazing how much you get done in those 25 minutes.
Right. That break coming up keeps you on track.
But focus is only good if it's on the right things. How do we pick the right targets?
SMART goals. That's your framework.
Specific, measurable, all that good stuff.
You know it. Specific means clear definition, no wishy-washiness.
Measurable, I can track progress.
Achievable, meaning it's actually doable with what you've got.
Relevant, it matters to the big picture.
And time-bound, deadline. Without that, it's easy to procrastinate.
So instead of get healthier, it's lose 7 pounds by June 30th by
Hitting the gym twice a week, eating more veggies daily, boom.
actionable, trackable.
And then those actions become your tasks to manage.
Makes sense. Now, multitasking, we all do it, but is it good?
The myth of doing it all. Research says no.
Really? But it feels efficient.
Here's the thing. Your brain hates task switching.
What, like literally?
It creates attention residue. It's the old tasks stick around.
Oh, you're trying to do the new one.
Exactly. More errors, worse quality, you get stressed.
It's like listening to 2 podcasts at once, you grasp nothing.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Single tasking, ironically, is more efficient.
Okay, counterintuitive but true. Now, technology, help or a hindrance?
It's a double-edged sword. Used right, it's a time saver.
Like Trello, Asana.
Those are great. Organize tasks, projects, collaborate.
You see your workflow, deadlines, progress,
But you got to pick the right tools for you.
and actually use them consistently.
Otherwise, it's just more clutter. And be wary of the time sucks.
Social media, email black holes.
Be the master, not the slave to tech.
Couldn't agree more. Okay, some less common tips. Time blocking. That sounds intense.
It's next level planning. You literally schedule time for everything.
So not just a to-do list, but when each thing gets done,
Right. Makes you prioritize the important but not urgent stuff.
which we always push off.
Time blocking forces commitment, like making appointments with yourself.
So work on presentation becomes 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. presentation time blocked out on the calendar.
Exactly. And you see visually how your day is actually spent.
Powerful stuff. Okay, last one. This one's fun. The 2-minute rule.
I love this one. It's for those tiny tasks that pile up and bug you.
We all have them.
If it takes under 2 minutes, do it right now.
Respond to the email, file a paper, whatever.
Get it off your plate. Prevents mental clutter. Builds momentum.
Tiny wins add up.
Totally. Speaking of doing a lot, gotta share a fun fact. Leonardo da Vinci, you know him.
Renaissance man, painter, inventor.
He reportedly slept 20 minutes every 4 hours.
What? That's barely anything.
It's called polyphasic sleep. Maximize waking time, the idea was.
Intense. Not for me, but it shows how driven he was.
To make the most of time. And that's the core takeaway here.
So, bottom line, how should we approach time management?
It's about knowing your priorities, then living by them.
Not just cramming more in, but doing the right things.
Less stress, more clarity, purpose. Those are the side effects.
Designing your life, not just reacting to it. So listeners, as you hear this,
Think about your own habits. Which tip resonated?
Eisenhower for prioritizing. Pomodoro for focus.
Maybe just the 2-minute rule to clear the little stuff?
Pick one, try it out.
Time management is a journey, not a destination.
What works for one person might need tweaking for you.
Constant improvement, that's the key.
And here's a thought to leave you with. Beyond just getting stuff done.
How could owning your time lead to bigger things?
Unexpected opportunities, creative bursts. What's possible when you truly master this?
Food for thought. Time is precious. Use it wisely.